The sound of my heels clicking against the marble floor echoed through the hallway as I followed Sarah from HR to conference room B. My stomach was in knots, but I kept my head high, even as I felt the eyes of my colleagues following my every step. 7 years at Maxwell and Partners had taught me to maintain composure, no matter what. "Rebecca, please have a seat," James, my boss, gestured to the chair across from him. The morning sun streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows did nothing to warm the sterile atmosphere of the room. The HR director sat quietly beside him, a manila envelope placed precisely in front of her. I smoothed my skirt and sat down, my hands clasped tightly in my lap to hide their trembling. Just yesterday, I'd been celebrating landing the Thompson account, a $2 million deal that had taken months of strategic planning and countless late nights to secure. Now, something in James's carefully neutral expression told me none of that mattered. Due to recent restructuring, the words washed over me like ice water. Budget cuts, position elimination, immediate effect, 2 weeks severance. The corporate euphemisms couldn't soften the blow. I was being fired from the job I poured my heart and soul into for the better part of a decade. I managed to maintain my composure through the exit interview, signing papers with steady hands while my mind raced. How would I pay my mortgage? What would I tell my parents? How long would my savings last? The questions tumbled through my thoughts, but I refused to let them see me crack. It wasn't until I reached my car in the parking garage that the tears finally came. 7 years of dedication reduced to 2 cardboard boxes and a potted plant. My fingers gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white as I tried to make sense of it all. That evening, I sat in my apartment surrounded by the contents of my desk. Among them was a framed photo of our team celebrating after landing the Thompson account. I poured myself a glass of wine, the expensive Cabernet I'd been saving for my next promotion, and opened my laptop. LinkedIn beckoned like a digital confessional. As I scrolled through job listings, a post from Sarah, a former colleague who'd left the company 2 years ago, caught my eye. She was celebrating her boutique agency's latest success. Her words hit me like a lightning bolt. Sometimes the best opportunities come disguised as failures. I took another sip of wine and opened a new document. Instead of updating my resume, I began typing out everything I'd learned about what clients really needed. All the gaps I'd seen in traditional agency services, all the innovative strategies I'd developed that had brought in millions for Maxwell and Partners. By midnight, my wine glass was empty, but my document was full. It wasn't a business plan, not yet, but it was something more valuable. It was a vision. I'd spent years helping other companies tell their stories. Maybe it was time to write my own. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Instead of joining the corporate job hunt, I made 2 calls. The first was to my bank to understand exactly how long my savings could sustain me. The second was to David Thompson himself. "Rebecca," his familiar voice boomed through the phone. "I heard what happened at Maxwell. Their loss, that campaign you developed for us, increased our revenue by 40% last quarter." I took a deep breath. "David, what if I told you I could do even better?" There was a pause on the line. "I'm listening." That conversation became the foundation of strategic edge marketing. David didn't just become my first client, he became my advocate, introducing me to other CEOs who were frustrated with traditional agency approaches. My apartment's dining room became my office. I worked 18-hour days, developing a business model that would fill the gaps I'd seen in the industry. No more one-size-fits-all approaches. No more choosing between the personal attention of a boutique agency and the resources of a large firm. I would offer something different, data-driven strategies combined with personalized service. The first few months were a masterclass in humility. I learned to be my own accountant, lawyer, IT department, and janitor. Every penny of my savings went into building the business. There were nights I lay awake wondering if I'd made a catastrophic mistake. But then came the breakthrough. 3 months in, David called again. "Remember that strategy you developed for our retail division? We just closed our best quarter ever. My friend John at Midwest Manufacturing needs what you do." I gave him your number. 1 referral became 3. 3 became 10. By month 6, I was turning down clients because I couldn't handle the workload alone. That's when I met Emily Rodriguez at a business networking event. "Your approach to the Thompson campaign was brilliant," she said over coffee. "I've been following your work since you started Strategic Edge. Emily had just left her position as a senior strategist at one of the big agencies. She understood exactly what I was trying to build. More importantly, she saw the same problems with traditional agency models that I did. She became my first hire, and together we began building something extraordinary. The next 2 years were a blur of growth, challenges, and learning. We moved from my dining room to our first office, then to a larger space as our team grew. Each new hire was carefully chosen not just for their skills, but for their belief in our vision. The turning point came during a pitch to regional retailers, a client we'd been trying to land for months. Their CEO interrupted my presentation halfway through. "Stop right there," he said, and my heart sank. But then he smiled. "This is exactly what we've been looking for. Everyone else shows us templates. You're showing us transformation." That contract pushed us over the $1 million revenue mark. But more importantly, it validated everything I believed when I sat in my apartment that first night, imagining a different kind of agency. Today, Strategic Edge Marketing has offices in 3 cities and a team of 32 incredible professionals. We've helped dozens of companies achieve their growth goals, and our waiting list gets longer every month. Sometimes I drive past my old office building and I can't help but smile at the memory of that walk to Conference Room B. What felt like an ending was actually a beginning. Getting fired didn't just change my career, it forced me to discover what I was truly capable of. The truth is, success rarely follows a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, and yes, occasional devastating setbacks. But if you stay true to your vision and never stop believing in your ability to create something meaningful, amazing things can happen. Sometimes, getting fired isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning of a better one. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting better. 3 years ago, I left that conference room feeling like my world had ended. Today, I know it was actually the moment my real journey began. My story isn't unique. There are countless entrepreneurs who built successful businesses from the ashes of career setbacks. What makes each journey special is not the destination, but the courage to take that first step into the unknown. Because sometimes, losing your job isn't the end of your career, it's the beginning of your legacy. The transformation from corporate executive to entrepreneur wasn't a smooth path, but rather a series of pivotal moments that tested my resolve and shaped my vision. After that initial conversation with David Thompson, I realized I needed more than just determination. I needed a strategy that would differentiate strategic edge marketing in a crowded marketplace. My dining room became command central, with market research papers spread across the table where I once hosted dinner parties. I spent weeks analyzing competitor strategies, interviewing potential clients, and identifying gaps in the industry. The insights I gathered were invaluable. Mid-sized companies felt overlooked by major agencies, but weren't getting the sophisticated strategies they needed from smaller firms. One conversation particularly stood out. I was meeting with Janet Chen, CEO of a regional healthcare company, had a local coffee shop since I didn't have a proper office yet. As she stirred her latte, she expressed a frustration I hear echoed by many others. "The big agencies show us beautiful presentations," she said, "but their strategies feel like templates. They don't understand our specific challenges. We need someone who can think like a business partner, not just a marketing vendor." Those words became the foundation of our service model. I spent the next month developing a proprietary approach that combined data analytics with personalized strategy development. Every client would get a custom playbook based on their unique market position, challenges, and growth objectives. The first real test of this approach came sooner than expected. David Thompson had referred me to John Marshall, CEO of Midwest Manufacturing. Their marketing budget was 10 times what I'd handled independently before, and they needed a complete strategy overhaul. I still remember walking into their boardroom, my heart pounding but my voice steady. "Before I show you any marketing plans," I began, "I want to understand your business model, your competition, and where you see the biggest opportunities for growth." The silence that followed felt eternal. Then John smiled. "That's the first time an agency has started with our business instead of their capabilities." That meeting lasted 4 hours. By the end, I had not only landed the account, but also gained a deeper understanding of how to position strategic edge marketing. We weren't just offering marketing services, we were providing business transformation through strategic marketing. The growth that followed brought its own challenges. Working from my dining room was no longer sustainable, but leasing office space felt like a massive risk. Emily Rodriguez, my first hire, proved invaluable during this transition. Her experience at larger agencies helped us avoid common pitfalls as we scaled. We need systems in place before we grow, she insisted during one of our late-night strategy sessions. Otherwise, we'll lose the personal touch that makes us different. She was right. We spent 2 weeks documenting our processes, creating client onboarding procedures, and developing quality control measures. This foundation would prove crucial as we expanded. Our first office was a modest space in a converted warehouse. The industrial charm helped mask our limited budget for furnishings, and the open floor plan fostered the collaborative environment we wanted to create. Each new hire was chosen not just for their skills but for their alignment with our vision. Maria Santos joined us as our data analytics lead, bringing expertise from her years in finance. Marketing decisions should be backed by solid data, she argued during her interview. Creativity is essential, but it needs to be guided by insights. Her perspective would reshape how we approach campaign development. The real turning point came 6 months later. We were competing for the regional retailer's account against 2 major agencies. Our presentation wasn't just about marketing metrics, it was about business transformation. We showed them specific strategies for entering new markets, optimizing their supply chain through better communication, and building customer loyalty through personalized experiences. Their CEO, Robert Chen, interrupted my presentation halfway through. "Stop right there," he said, and the room fell silent. "This is exactly what we've been looking for. Everyone else shows us templates. You're showing us transformation." That contract didn't just push us over the $1 million revenue mark, it changed how we saw ourselves. We weren't just another marketing agency, we were business transformation partners who happened to specialize in marketing. The next phase of growth brought new challenges. Managing a team of 32 required different skills than running a small agency. I had to learn to delegate, to trust others with client relationships I'd built personally, and to step back from day-to-day operations to focus on strategic direction. Sarah Miller, our operations director, was instrumental in this transition. "Your job isn't to handle every crisis," she told me during a particularly stressful week. "It's to build a team that can handle crises while you focus on vision and growth." This shift in perspective led to one of our most innovative decisions, the creation of Strategic Edge Academy. We began investing heavily in team development, bringing in experts to train our staff in business strategy, data analytics, and emerging technologies. Every team member spent 15% of their time on professional development. The results were transformative. Our junior strategists became more confident in client meetings. Our creative team began incorporating data insights into their brainstorming sessions. Most importantly, our clients noticed the difference. "Your team doesn't just execute campaigns," one client remarked during a quarterly review. "They understand our business challenges and propose solutions we hadn't even considered." 3 years after that fateful day in Conference Room B, Strategic Edge Marketing has become more than I ever imagined. We have offices in 3 cities, a client waiting list that grows longer each month, and a team of incredible professionals who share my vision for transformative marketing. More importantly, we've helped dozens of companies achieve their growth goals. The Thompson account, which once seemed like my greatest achievement at Maxwell and Partners, now feels like a small stepping stone compared to what we've accomplished since. Last month, I was invited to speak at a business conference about entrepreneurship and resilience. As I stood at the podium, I saw many faces in the audience that reminded me of myself 3 years ago. Talented professionals wondering if they had what it takes to strike out on their own. My message to them was simple. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about how you respond to it. Every setback, every obstacle, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to learn, grow, and build something better than you imagined. Sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you professionally can become the catalyst for your greatest success. But only if you're willing to see beyond the immediate pain and recognize the opportunity hidden within the challenge. Getting fired didn't just change my career, it transformed my understanding of what I was capable of achieving. It taught me that sometimes we need to lose the path we're on to find the path we're meant to take. Today, when people ask me the secret to building a $1 million business, I tell them it starts with being willing to fail. Success isn't about avoiding setbacks, it's about using them as fuel for growth. Every no brings you closer to your yes. Every closed door pushes you toward the one that's meant to open. The journey from fired executive to successful entrepreneur has taught me that our greatest limitations are often self-imposed. When you strip away the fear of failure, when you stop trying to fit into someone else's definition of success, you create space for something extraordinary to emerge. 3 years ago, I left that conference room feeling like my world had ended. Today, I know it was actually the moment my real journey began. Because sometimes, losing your job isn't the end of your career, it's the beginning of your legacy. And that legacy isn't just about building a successful business. It's about creating opportunities for others, about showing them that setbacks don't define you. They refine you. It's about proving that with courage, determination, and a clear vision, you can turn any setback into a setup for something greater than you ever imagined.